Welcome to another episode of Football Tailgaters, where we talk everything about the NFL, including your picks for bets and fantasy. Today's episode, as usual, I have here with me Yams, the Texan Jets fan, Andy, the unbiased football fan, and myself, Aaron, the Cowboys fan. I wanted to start off today with something I saw earlier on Twitter. Actually, I don't know if you guys saw it, but it came out that, according to this article, it was like 9 hours ago, but, it was today. Von Miller said he would have taken less to join the Cowboys before signing a massive deal with the Bills. Now to further explain that is, I was reading here that according to the report from The Athletic, the Cowboys offered the same deal they offered Gregory, a 5-year, $70 million contract with 2 years guaranteed to Miller, who also had an offer on the table from the LA Rams. Miller told The Athletic that had Dallas's offer been close to what Buffalo was bringing to the table, he would have agreed to a lesser deal to join his hometown team. And then he said, Von Miller says, I told them I was ready to come to the Cowboys. I would have taken less to go to Dallas because it's Dallas, but I wouldn't take that much less. So kind of upset about that.
No, well, maybe they're looking that they have already Van Der Esch, and Micah Parsons as linebackers, and we're okay at that point because they don't have so much money to just give away. So they were providing of how much. Maybe they thought of it's an upgrade from Randy Gregory, even though Randy Gregory was a defensive end. But I mean, you can play around and put Von Miller in different positions, but maybe they just felt like they were comfortable with what they have. I'm not saying if that's a good thing or a smart choice or a bad choice, but I think that might be the reason why they just didn't offer more.
Yeah, the thing is, I would think they would, I don't think they're focusing on their secondary that much as well. Trayvon Diggs is an amazing player, but he's such a gamble. But there's no what we had before with Byron Jones. It just doesn't seem like the secondary can be as effective. And where the eyes are going to right now is, the linebackers and the defensive line. I would think they would invest in that at least a little bit, at least try to offer more than what they offered, which was the $7 million. That's just my opinion, because the defense right now is kind of the highlight, and the offense is losing its highlight. It's not what it was a couple years ago. It's just different now, and it seems to me, at least from what we saw last season, it shifted over to the defense being, the star of Micah Parsons, and he's pretty versatile as it is. So I think it would have been perfect to have Von Miller. I think if they would have, I would have taken the gamble.
It seems like it's the same thing. Either it's the offense is doing well and the defense is doing bad, or the defense does well and the offense does bad. It's the same thing over and over again. So there's never a good balance.
No, because they don't know how to do it. There's just, it's so unusual what goes on there. You're just what are they doing? What did they do this off season? Nothing, right? Nothing significant, at least. And we'll talk about, the free agents still available later on in this podcast. But that was just a little bit of that. I don't know if you have anything to say, Yams, about that.
No.
All right, cool. All right, so anyways.
What up, coulda, shoulda. I mean, they lost their chance, I guess.
It is what it is. So we're going to talk about Baker Mayfield again. Very big news that he got traded to the Panthers. I thought he was going to go to the Panthers. And also to point out, the Seattle, it was reported that Seattle had no interest in him, which I think was very, very smart of them to do. But anyways, he's been traded to the Panthers, Carolina Panthers, for a 5th-round conditional pick. And if he plays, 70% of the snaps, more than 70%, it turns into a 4th round.
Not too 100% sure.
It was something along those lines.
Yeah, probably. Just like how the Carson Wentz deal happened with Indianapolis Colts for it to be turned into a first-round pick
And
for the Eagles, which did work.
I do know 100% that it's based on how many snaps he plays. So it goes by percentage of it. So I think if he surpasses a percentage of snaps played, it turns into a fourth-round pick, which is okay, whatever. But we're gonna ask the question here: who should start at QB? With Sam Darnold there too, it's gonna be kind of conflicting. I've been hearing kind of mixed things in the media, and then we're also gonna ask who's better. So you guys can go ahead and answer both at the same time.
I think you guys know my answer.
No, go ahead and say it, and please elaborate.
Okay. Well, I've always said from the very beginning, I believe in Sam Darnold. I think he is a good quarterback. I think he's also better than Baker Mayfield. But it's also very close. Their talent is very close. What I think happened, and then the closest thing I can think of when I think of the situation with Baker Mayfield, is if you're shopping for a new TV set, right? And you go into a store and you see a brand that's maybe Samsung. But you also see a different brand that's not a Samsung. It's not a great brand.
Like Westinghouse.
Westinghouse, correct. So, and then you see the store reviews and it says, great value for the price. That's what happened with Baker Mayfield. Practically, Browns just wanted to get rid of him. We'll pay half the salary. And for Carolina Panthers, it was a no-brainer. Let's go ahead and take the chance, and let's see if it works out. I think Carolina is a mess. Matt Rule is not the answer. We saw last year how he brought in Cam Newton. It was a pure mess. He was going in from Cam Newton, Sam Darnold to PJ Walker. Maybe the guy doesn't know how to work with quarterbacks. So Sam Darnold is better. I predict Sam Darnold gets the start because he already has the playbook. He already has a head start over Baker Mayfield. So, I mean, again, it's really close on their talent. You can't compare the talent level that surrounded Baker Mayfield the way it did with Sam Darnold as they were both coming up in the NFL. They both struggled to make the wrong decisions, and that's what gets them in trouble in games. So they need to both need to learn how to be a game manager versus trying to take the whole game and figure it out.
I really think that you can compare both of them. I do understand in Sam Darnold's situation that he had a worse start in the Jets because of Adam Gase and having like so many different. He didn't have a quarterbacks coach, and just Baker Mayfield had a lot for him. He had Odell Beckham, he had Chubb, he had Kareem Hunt, Landry. So I do understand that. But when you
for how long?
Okay, but the reason of why I'm going to tell you that you can compare them is because you can right away know when you have like a franchise type of quarterback. You've seen it with like they just start and right off the page you're like surprised, and I can tell you even though these quarterbacks have better like players around them. Herbert, right off the start you can see that guy's a winner. Joe Burrow just went to the Super Bowl. So those are just players that just that just jump off the page, and you can just clearly say that those are franchise quarterbacks. Then you have another like tier of quarterbacks that they're okay, that they can play, but that doesn't mean that they are like the answer for to be like the franchise quarterback for the team. So for Matt Rule, I think he has a really good team already established, but the only thing that's missing for him, and he's been struggling, is to find the quarterback. And this just shows you how hard it is to find a quarterback. They tried with Cam Newton, like you said last year. They tried with Sam Darnold. It's not working. They have PJ Walker. That does not working, even though he did really well in the XFL, right? Of what we saw. and they drafted Matt Corral. I mean, they've seen him play. Matt Corral during the mini camps, and it seems like they're not like super suffice. So they're like, heck yeah, bring Baker, and we just have one of these guys maybe can hit. So he's playing for his job. I'm thinking Matt Rule.
Of course, yeah. And here's the thing:
so it's not a mess. It's not a total mess what they have.
It is a mess.
They have a team.
It is a mess.
How is it a mess? They have a team. They have a decent defense. They have a decent offense too. They just need a quarterback. If they have a really good quarterback, they'll go to the playoffs and probably win some games in the playoffs. They have DJ Moore. They have Robbie Anderson, which you love, by the way. They have one of the best running backs in Christian McCaffrey. Yes, he's been hurt, but I think he's gonna be okay. This season, I think he'll be back to his normal self this season. Their offensive line is all right. It's not horrible. And their defense is also pretty good. I mean, and then they have, I believe, the cornerback, was it Horn from last year? He got injured. Now he's going to be playing. So
I said you can't compare, Jace Horn. You can't compare the two quarterbacks, Baker and Sam Darnold. They did not have the same level of talent surrounding them.
He did have Robbie Anderson over there.
Only Robbie Anderson. That's the only one you can mention from the New York Jets from the time he was playing there. Give me another one.
Crowder?
Okay. You're going to compare Crowder over Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham?
With Landry,
and
yes.
What about their tight end? Can you remember their tight end for the New York Jets? Exactly.
But you did like the tight end. I remember you were stoked about the tight end. In
the preseason, yeah, and all of a sudden it just fell flat.
And Cleveland doesn't even use their tight end that much, even though we all think that Njoku is pretty good. They didn't even use him that much.
They also had Hopper. Is that his name? Hopper or Hooper?
Hooper.
Austin Hooper. Sorry.
Stranger
Things.
No, but look, if we can go back to the years, let's just go back to 2018.
This is Sam Darnold's first year with actually some level of talent.
Okay.
Compared to the many years
in 2018, Baker had a completion percentage. Sam Darnold had a completion percentage of 57.7%. And then we had a total yards of, well, I'm just gonna skip the yards too. I mean, if you want to count, it's 2,865 touchdowns. He has 17 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. So almost the same amount of touchdowns he had interceptions as 15. Baker Mayfield, he had a completion percentage of 63.8, 3,725 yards, 27 touchdowns, like a lot more than Sam Darnold. And in interceptions, he had 14. Almost the same amount as the interceptions, but at least he did more touchdowns. 2019, second year, Sam Darnold did a little bit better, went to 61.9% completion, 3,024 yards, which is like about 200 more yards than the year prior, 19 touchdowns, which is just 2 touchdowns more than the year prior, and 13 interceptions. So his second year was probably his best year. The third year, and let me go back to Baker. Baker had 59.4. He actually went a little bit down in percentage. Yards 3,827, touchdowns 22 touchdowns and 21 interceptions. This was one of Baker's bad years, but at least he was scoring touchdowns, giving his offense a chance. And you can compare it with Sam Darnold, that the offense didn't have that much of a chance, and the defense was just getting exhausted. They're just getting so much exhausted. And Sam Darnold for 2020, he had 59.6% completion, 2,208 yards, which was a really low compared to his first and second year. Only 9 touchdowns and putting more interceptions with 11. And he did the exact same thing, Sam Darnold, in 2021 with the Panthers. A better team, 59.9% completion, 2,527 yards. 9 touchdowns, and did again more interceptions and touchdowns with 13. With Baker, I mean, last year he was hurt, and he did better than Darnold. He was hurt, and he had a 60.5% completion, 3,010 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. More touchdown interceptions. You can put that Baker is not a lot more skillful, but is better than Sam Darnold.
Well, doesn't that tell you something? That if if the numbers aren't always a true story, right? If the numbers are telling you he is able to do something, it's because the talent around him allows him to do that. If he was a better quarterback, then he would have been able to excel much better than these numbers. I mean, these are numbers that are pretty close to Darnold, and Darnold had no weapons.
I'm seeing more touchdowns and interceptions in all of Baker Mayfield's years. And once you have more interceptions and touchdowns, then we have a problem.
But he has more talent. You could tell me the wide receivers right off the bat that started at the Browns, but you can't tell me one for the New York Jets.
I mean, I'm still trying to figure out, just because of that, you can't just say, oh, well, that's it. What about last year with Carolina? That's
his first year. It's his first year there.
What, you're counting that as his first year in the NFL?
I'm counting that the first year with the first time with the system, yes.
And he had a bad season.
Yes, he did.
Bad season.
I'm not denying that he had a bad season. And if Baker goes in and plays this year, he'll have a bad season because that team, Matt Rule, is on the ledge. Like, he's about to get fired. So it's gonna be a circus, in my opinion.
What do you think, Aaron?
I think personally, I think there's a little bit of bias coming from Yam's side. That's just me.
For sure.
No.
Jets.
No,
yes.
no. You said it before you started off. Everyone's kind of a mix in here.
Yeah, no,
and the media, they're mixed.
But can you say that you really disliked Baker Mayfield?
Why would
throughout
I dislike
the years?
them?
You have disliked them ever since. I think it was that
it's his ego.
That's information.
No.
That's information that doesn't need to be.
No, it does, so people can know where you're coming from.
No,
it was a Monday Night Football, if I'm not mistaken, and the Cleveland Browns had I think it was they lost all the games, right? They lost all the games. So they were looking for one season they lost all the games.
Yeah, so
and the
they
next
drafted
season,
him and I forgot who was their quarterback at that time. Was it Hoyer? I don't remember. And they decided to put Mayfield in the second half and against the Jets. And yes, he
won the game.
Him or the Browns won against the Jets. But again, remember, they have Nick Chubb, they have Kareem Hunt. Tell me the running back for the New York Jets. Tell me wide receiver.
I'm with you.
Sam Darnold has had bad numbers, I understand. Baker Mayfield also has bad numbers with better talent.
So if you put Sam Darnold in the Cleveland Browns, you think he would have done better than Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, so I think his numbers would have been much better.
No. Would he have done better?
Absolutely.
See, I don't see any evidence of that. But if you ask me who...
Also, one more thing, and then I'll let you...
Okay.
Then he was under Adam Gase also for 2 years.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Awful head coach. Probably one of the worst.
I'm not saying that Baker is so much better than Sam Darnold.
Well, why don't you make a statement? Who is better then?
I think Baker is a little bit better than Sam Darnold.
And
Because Sam Darnold takes forever to throw the ball.
He's quick, actually, no.
For me, he takes a long time to throw the ball.
He's quick. If you remember watching him, he's really quick at those short passes.
Short passes, but to throw those long darts that Baker Mayfield did with Landry and with Odell Beckham.
You're mentioning a lot of those two wide receivers are well known, and you've yet to tell me one for the Jets.
No, I understand that, but at least he put it in a good position. Darnold would have interceptions constantly
because he had no one to throw to.
No, even if he threw it, you don't have to put it in a position where the defender is gonna catch it.
Look, for me, they're both bad. It's basically you're looking at numbers, and this is garbage, and this is trash.
I wouldn't say that they're bad quarterbacks. I just say that they're a little bit better than average.
I'm saying the numbers are the same. You're comparing.
No,
trash
I
trash.
just told you the numbers. They're not the same. Well, and I know what you're saying about the team situation. I completely understand that. But it was his first year with the Panthers, and he could have done a lot better. Even Robbie Anderson was so upset with him on the sidelines. And what did he say, Yams?
I don't remember. Tighten up.
Tighten up, bro. Because he wasn't playing well at all. He was getting really frustrated with his quarterback, and it was his quarterback from the Jets.
Okay.
So he knows his quarterback.
All right. Well, I understand. So you say Baker Mayfield's better. So who's going to start?
So if I have to say who's gonna start, I'm thinking Darnold's gonna start.
So Baker's better, but Darnold's getting the start.
Yes, and let me tell you the reason why. The reason why is because of the money situation. They're going to give, unless just Darnold just plays horrible in training camp, just horrible, then they'll probably give the start to Baker Mayfield. But they're probably going to have Darnold start because they are paying him like $18 to $19 million because they picked up his 5th-year option. And so it's a lot more money that they're going to be paying Darnold. So it's kind of the situation like, hey, we're giving him a lot of money he needs to play out. And for Baker, they're giving him like half of that, like $9 million. So probably Darnold's going to start. And if they are not winning, they're probably going to put the switch really quickly and just start Baker. Even though it would be really exciting to see, because in week 1, it's going to be the Panthers against Cleveland Browns. So even for media attention, it would be really cool to see Baker Mayfield against the Cleveland Browns.
I don't think I've ever heard you guys be so passionate about such like a mediocre conversation or like a conversation about mediocre quarterbacks. I think that's impressive in itself.
Well, it's interesting because these two were the two. One was taken first, and the other one was taken the third, and now they're in the same team.
Yeah, but name another time where you're like mediocre quarterbacks have been in the spotlight for that long.
Well, it really depends on who you define as a mediocre quarterback. And I mean, everybody likes an underdog too. Like I would wish that these two like would do great in their career. And I feel more for Darnold, and it's a lot of the pieces of why Yams was saying, because he just had a horrible time in the New York Jets. But I still believe that if he was better talented, he would have done a little bit better, and people would have seen. I mean, you, like us three, we're not NFL coaches or scouts, and nobody was like dying to like trade for Baker or Darnold. The only ones that were like, yeah, come over here is the Panthers. And the Panthers were also on the list to get Deshaun Watson. Those guys are just dying for a quarterback. And look at the Seahawks, like you said, Aaron, like they supposedly that they weren't even interested. So, I mean, I would like to see these guys flourish and prove people wrong, of course. But
what's interesting to me is who is behind the decision to bring Baker Mayfield. Is it a coach decision or is it general manager decision? Because
in this case,
yeah, because I
think it's both.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that the GM and the coach are in the same page that they need a quarterback. And honestly, like a lot of fans, a lot of fans probably think alike and saying like, you know what, we just need to have a quarterback. So let's just bring all of these guys. One of them has to hit. One of them. We have a decent team that I believe in the Carolina Panthers are kind of ready to have a playoff run. And I mean, they can do it. I mean, basically, so they just need a quarterback. And I'm not saying that they have the answer at quarterback, but they're trying. That's why they did it with Cam Newton last year, and they also had Sam Darnold. So we'll see.
I still think it's just a coach problem, and I don't think Matt Rule's the answer for the Carolina Panthers.
Well, I think whatever it is, getting Baker doesn't excite me at all if I'm a Panthers fan, excuse me. There's just so much to worry about that team. You even have to so Christian McCaffrey's coming back, right? Is he gonna stay healthy for a whole year? What's gonna happen? Your receivers, you got DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, which are great, but besides that, I mean, over on the defense, it's just pretty much like you said, J.C. Horn and Stephon Gilmore. That's it, from what I can think of. But besides that, all the other players don't seem like they can hold up as well. And this is just some kind of like desperate move that I think this might be one of the final moments that, yeah, maybe Matt Rule is going to be gone if nothing can happen in like a season or two, depending on what works out. But I think what has to happen here is they have to be very decisive. They can't flip flop like the Bears do, you know. I know their situation is also different, but like it's an example of how like an organization can be, or like a coaching staff can be flip-flopping, very unorganized. Same thing with kind of like the 49ers when they have Trey Lance and Garoppolo. There's just so much doubt. Like just stick with your guns, and if it doesn't work out, just take like at least give it a couple of tries, because I mean Sam Darnold has only been there for one season. And now you're going to get another good quarterback. Yeah, you got him pretty cheap, honestly. And it might be the same level as Sam Darnold, but
don't you think it's also frustrating that you feel like you have a ready team and you're just missing that quarterback piece? And so time runs out, like people's contracts come up and you have to pay, and then some
because you don't have other players that can carry you. Like I said, like it's just besides those key players I was mentioning, there's no one else that can help out. So it has to be the quarterback here that seals the deal. And I mean, you're not getting any better. So I mean, for what it was worth, I think the trade that was made was pretty worth it. I was even considering that maybe they would send Sam Darnold to the Browns to that degree.
Like a trade of quarterbacks.
Yeah,
I can see that. But I do think that the Panthers actually, I don't think that they're doing wrong by what they're doing.
No, and I think they won the trade because they.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. They got a quarterback with playoff experience, right? And you have him as a backup possibly, because I do think that Sam Darnold's also
experience.
What do you mean one playoff? He won a playoff game.
Yeah,
he won. One. That's what I said.
Sam Darnold has 0. So
I think Dak Prescott only has 1 too. No.
Yeah, and I think he's a better quarterback than those. So it's just it's playoff experience, and that matters. I mean, they were there because they had a good team, and the Panthers are a good team. So they just got to figure out with what they have. They were given these options, and Matt Rule just has to figure it out, and it's gonna suck because he's probably gonna be fired if it doesn't work out. But yeah, sucks to be a Panther fan. I think it's gonna be complicated, but Sam Darnold is gonna start, and I think Baker is better.
All right, 2 for
That's
1.
But we'll move on from that and go on to Baker Mayfield again, guys. Very exciting. We're gonna compare him to other quarterbacks. Actually, moving on from that, so we're gonna do a would you rather situation here, and I'm gonna give you Baker or blank, whatever other quarterback we have here on the list, and we're gonna go around the horn. I'll start first, and then we'll go Yams, and then Andy, and then I'll name the other quarterback, and blah blah blah, and then we're just gonna be quick with it. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So Baker Mayfield or Justin Fields? Baker Mayfield.
You don't want to say why?
I'm afraid to say why. I'm just not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna say mine.
Okay.
I'm not even gonna explain.
I say Justin Fields. He has a higher ceiling that we haven't seen yet, and we already know what Baker has to offer.
I agree with Yams. I would say Justin Fields. You already know again what Baker can do, and Justin Fields, it's a quarterback that you can coach, and he has some abilities that Baker Mayfield doesn't have. It is just more interesting to see what you can do with Justin Fields.
Baker Mayfield or Jared Goff? Baker Mayfield, even though Jared Goff went to the Super Bowl. I just think he's just capped out, and I just see more talent in Baker Mayfield overall. And I feel like Jared Goff needs a good team to be a good quarterback. and I hope that's what they build over there in Detroit. But for now, it's Baker.
For me, it's going to be Jared Goff. He has experience. He has more than one playoff win. He also has better completion percentages and rating. So I think he is a better quarterback than Baker.
I'm also going to agree with Yams. And it's not by much, but I do agree that I would pick Jared Goff. He's more coachable. You're not going to have that personality issues and being disgruntled. You can coach him. And like Yam said, he does have some from experience to even go to win a Super Bowl. He is a Super Bowl winning quarterback, actually. So no. I'm sorry. No, he lost against the Patriots.
The Patriots won.
Yeah.
Oh.
He was gifted a very talented team.
They went all the way to the end, but
it was such a boring game, dude.
It was. But I would still pick Jared Goff.
I just see Baker Mayfield being more exciting. Baker Mayfield or Marcus Mariota, I think, simply because of experience, Baker Mayfield as well. Marcus Mariota is not even a starter, so yeah, that's it.
I agree with you, and he has more experience. Marriota, we don't see him often. He's out. Actually, I don't think he can even stay healthy, so.
I would say that too. So Baker Mayfield's the first time I'm picking Baker against Marriota, and that's because just injury for me. That's another reason I should have brought up because of why Baker is better than Darnold. Darnold can't finish a season. Just with only that, Baker's better.
Okay. Also, yeah, he's been injured every year.
And
fine.
And had mono too.
But he hasn't had surgery. He hasn't had surgery.
Regardless,
Baker Mayfield got injured once, and guess what?
Okay,
under
but
the knife he goes.
Well, that happens to players. That doesn't mean that they're going to be out. So just with the health issue, I would pick Baker. And in this case, with Mariota, easy to pick because of health, Baker.
Okay, we already talked about Baker and Sam Darnold. You missed your opportunity.
Well, that's why I'm...
Baker Mayfield or Jameis Winston. I think Baker Mayfield because I don't want the interception machine. Although I do think he's really talented, though. But it's just from what I've seen, from my experience, it's just his touchdown to interception ratio. It's just something I really don't like.
Who is it? Winston is the interception? Winston. Okay. Well, I actually say Jameis Winston because... Why you laugh?
No, go for it.
They both throw a lot of interceptions, so it's really the same thing. I choose him only because he has leadership quality, and I think he can rally the team around him. And Baker Mayfield is selfish and has a lot of ego.
I'm actually gonna go with Baker in this one, and the reason is because of what Aaron said of the interceptions. Even though they both won at some point led the league in interceptions, I would still go with Baker because I just feel like he's a little bit more competitive than Jameis Winston. I think Jameis Winston has a big personality and is very just like a fun quarterback type of thing, and I need my quarterback to be just like, we have to be competitive and win. But that's why I would choose Baker.
Baker Mayfield or Carson Wentz. Tough one because they've done, both of them have done pretty embarrassing things, and I think they're around the same level. I really don't know how to separate these guys, at least from off the top of my head. And I don't want to just say either. I mean, neither. I don't know. I don't know.
You have to choose one.
They're both kind of just whatever.
You know what? I'm just gonna dismiss your choosing, and I'm just gonna say Carson Wentz. He is better than Baker Mayfield, and I say by a lot probably. He is
Did you see
more
what he
talented.
did with the Colts?
Yeah, no, I understand.
Is that why
I completely
he's with
understand.
the Commanders?
Well, look.
Well, I mean, at least he has a starting job, and they actually were looking for him to get him. So the Commanders, with a good coach in Ron Rivera that went to the Super Bowl, was like, I can win with this guy. Nobody wanted Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield. So in this place, and this time, the Commanders got what they wanted. Also, the Colts, they see what I think I see in him is that he's a good quarterback. He just needs help around him, and yeah, he I'm not saying he's amazing and he's great, but I think he's out of all of these quarterbacks that we spoke about, he's probably the most talented.
I think he has the same team he had with the Colts, though, like the Commanders and the Colts.
Yeah, but maybe in this case, with the coach of Ron Rivera, it's going to be a little bit of a different situation, maybe. And he has a decent defense here as well. So
the Commanders?
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with all the things you said. Wentz is a much better Baker. And then Baker, not even close. When he plays well, he can elevate the team to win. So, I mean, it's all on Carson Wentz to not make those dumb decisions when they are needed the most, kind of like Romo. But yes, I think by far he's much better.
I just took the guy who hasn't been on 3 teams, so
he'll Aaron give it 1 or 2 years, and there goes Baker to his 3rd team.
It's just when I think Carson Wentz, dude, I just think of that really dumb highlight he had with that interception.
Yeah, it was horrible, and I'm with you. And to me, this is Carson Wentz's last time that he has the opportunity to be a franchise
starter.
Yeah.
After this, if he doesn't do well with the Commanders, he's done.
Yep. And that's why I think Baker just has more to prove. He's barely going to be on a second team. It's just kind of a complicated situation because not a lot of teams. They're not comfortable enough with taking another quarterback that's around the same level that they have, or they're just.
I see what you mean, but the thing is that with Baker, the Panthers got Baker, and they're still like not knowing who their quarterback is, and it's the difference is that with Carson Wentz, they know who their quarterback is. It's Carson Wentz. They're not like, well, we'll see what it is, and we'll see what this quarterback.
Because there's no other backup to challenge him.
Well, yeah, but don't you think that the Commanders would have tried to get it?
Commanders are in a different situation than the Panthers. The Panthers
I think they're kind of close. No, I think the Commanders, they have a good team around them.
Okay, then what's going on with the coaching situation with the Panthers then? I thought we were just talking about how Matt Rule is just on the borderline of just being out. And
yeah, but Ron Rivera is not in the hot seat. At least not. I don't think so.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying.
That's to Aaron's point.
That's to my point. It's a different situation.
Well, I mean, team-wise, removing the coach, I think that they have good players around them to get them to that level. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, in the NFC East, I know that when we were choosing them, who's going to be like the predictions, we were choosing the Cowboys, but honestly, that division is wide open except for the Giants, honestly. But the Eagles, the Commanders, and the Cowboys can all be able to just jump off and win that division.
Yeah. Wentz isn't a horrible quarterback. It's just, he has very untimely... The decisions he makes, like those mistakes are very costly, and it's just a risk.
For me, he's injury prone too,
and
that's what's really frustrating. Yeah, that's really frustrating. I think that when he went down and the Eagles won that Super Bowl, I think he could have had a really good chance to win that Super Bowl too, because he was playing lights out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what about Baker Mayfield and Ryan Tannehill? I think Ryan Tannehill here. That's in my opinion.
Oh, that one's super easy for me. Tannehill.
Yeah.
After he left Miami and became the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, I mean, he has proven to be a good quarterback for the NFL. Yep. He's not Aaron Rodgers, he's not Pat Mahomes, right? But he's certainly better than Baker Mayfield, no doubt.
For sure. I agree too. I think we can all agree Tannehill. I mean, and I feel sorry for the guy. Davis is gone. AJ Brown is gone.
Yeah,
Julio
what are the
Jones
Titans doing?
Like, Julio Jones is kind of like, deadbeat now. I'm just kidding. No. But I mean, maybe he doesn't have enough juice.
No, well, he's not definitely like how he started his career.
Yeah, he's cooked.
But I'm just saying, like, wide receiver wise, like, I feel bad for him that what he was playing with, like, they're all gone.
Yeah, True. They did that draft that wide receiver though. What was his name? He was one of the top wide receivers. I can't remember the name. All right, whatever.
They still have Derrick Henry.
Yeah, the running back.
They're gonna run it.
They have
more.
Right? They have Robert Woods and they have Treylon Burks and Nick Westbrook.
That's who they drafted. Westbrook, no?
No.
That rings a bell.
No.
And then they got Austin Hooper. That guy has been jumping around. He was with Cleveland.
Trey Burks, no? That's the one they drafted.
Not sure.
That's the one they drafted. I'm almost certain that's the one they drafted.
That's when they drafted?
Yeah. Let me see.
But right now he's listed as round 1, pick 18.
Yeah.
And right now he's
Treylon Burks,
questionable.
Arkansas.
Is he really injured?
It says here on ESPN, status questionable.
Oh gosh.
Maybe he came from college already injured.
Yeah. So we'll move on.
Mm-hmm.
We'll move on from that. With the free agency still, there's still some, I guess you could say there's still good talent out there, obviously. Still some availability and some big question marks on some of these players and where they're going to go before the season starts, or maybe, who knows, during the season. But I think for the most part, there's a few of them that are actually I think they're going to get signed before the season. But we're going to name we're going to do around the horn again. We're going to name our most enticing player from the offensive side and defensive side. That's a free agent. And we'll start off with the offensive side. I think for me, it's
But you want to name the players?
Oh yeah. So the players are Odell Beckham, Will Fuller, Eric Fisher, and Julio Jones. And then for the defensive side, it's going to be Anthony Barr, and Dominic Sue, Sheldon Richardson. Sheldon Richardson doesn't ring the bell. Anyways, offensive side, we're gonna start with that. We're gonna go around and then we'll do defensive side. For me, I think it's a tough one between Odell Beckham and Will Fuller. But I think, I would go with Odell Beckham, but Will Fuller is also not a bad choice at all. Because he's done good things in his career, but I think I would go with Odell Beckham and just, hope he doesn't get injured. I think that's the player I would try to sign.
You said Beckham?
Yeah.
See, the problem with that is that Beckham, is with that torn ACL that he has, I don't think he's going to be able to do much this season. Those ACLs, and it looks like how it sounds, it was kind of like a really bad one. So I think that they were like the last reports they were talking about him coming like around ready in October. So he's already missing all September, and in October, like you can't just put him all in force. So for this year, I'm with you in talent wise, but for this year, I would think I would go with Julio Jones, and the reason is because, I mean, I know that he's not too back to his self. I think he only had one touchdown with the Tennessee Titans last year, and before that with Atlanta only 3. I mean, but he's a big guy, so I'm thinking he can do pretty well with those back shoulder throws, and I think you can rotate him for those types of situations, for like those quick passes or in the red zone, or even that you need some yards like to make the first down. I think you can play with him. You can use him a lot in that way. So just because of Beckham's injury, I would go with Julio Jones.
Well, I don't know what you mentioned, the ACI. I don't know how, maybe he could recover sooner. And if he does, I mean, obviously, I think the obvious choice here is Odell Beckham. When he was playing for the Los Angeles Rams, I feel like he was coming back to his prime self again. It's unfortunate that he had that ACL injury in the Super Bowl. But I think he can come back. If not, maybe to the Rams, or I like him going back to, or even going to Green Bay. If it's not him with the ACL, I think it's him. It would be Will Fuller. I don't think Julio Jones is. I don't know what's wrong with him. Like I said, I think he might be just, cooked. Maybe he's tired, or doesn't have enough juice. He's not playing the way he used to play. I mean, maybe this year we'll see some, but I don't know. I think he's his juice is down.
Will Fuller has had some trouble though with injuries.
Also.
Yeah, it's all about injuries. So.
In Houston, he was getting injured.
Yeah, these options aren't great.
No, that's why they're still out there and available.
I don't even know Eric Fisher.
Eric Fisher, wasn't he with the Commanders? Or...
No, he was with the
Colts.
Colts. Oh, you're right, Colts.
He wasn't good.
No, he actually got injured with his Achilles. So
was he any good? I can't remember him being any good.
Well,
but I mean, he's still there, so. But definitely, I think it would be Odell Beckham. If his injury does, prolong to be longer, then that's important because I do think he was looking like his prime self again.
I mean, Eric Fisher was a good offensive lineman. I think he does have some. I mean, depending on his injury, if he gets better, I mean, he did win the Super Bowl with the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you need somebody like to get in there and despite in the offensive line, and if you need some help, I mean, I don't think he's a bad choice.
Well, if he's not a bad choice,
it's a really good value for him for an offensive line.
Panthers should pick him up, or maybe Seattle Broncos too.
Heck, I would even say your Cowboys, Aaron, if they need some offensive line help and some rotation there.
Yeah, especially with Lyle Collins gone too.
Yeah, they have Steele, but I think. So where are they getting? No. See, I don't know what the situation is with the Cowboys because they drafted, Smith, right? That's his name. Machine. Yeah, but they still have Tyron Smith. So where are they gonna put him on left guard? I'm thinking.
Because he's a tackle, right?
Yeah, he's a tackle. So I'm thinking, where are they going to put him? I guess in the left guard, or because they have Steele on the right tackle side. And then for right guard, well, of course, it's Zach Martin. And center, well, he's not going to be center. So maybe just like in case, I mean, if he's available and affordable, it's a great value to get Eric Fisher, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, definitely offensive line are more reliable, for the most part, at least. But what about the defensive side with Anthony Barr, linebacker, defensive tackle, and Ndamukong Suh, kind of mess up his name, and then defensive tackle Sheldon Richardson. I think I go with Anthony Barr here. Anthony Barr. Mm-hmm. I think he's still pretty good.
Yeah, honestly, this was kind of hard for me to choose. And Ndamukong Suh, look, he's kind of 35 years old. I think he's probably getting up there in age.
Is he 35?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
Maybe, well, he's the oldest one from the three that were mentioned.
Yeah, but I didn't think he was that old. Yeah, he's 35.
35, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So,
not saying that that's old for life.
No, it's not old for life, but in the NFL.
As an athlete.
NFL.
As an athlete in the NFL.
For an athlete. So, Anthony Barr, from when I was looking at his stats, he doesn't seem to play the full season. And he has this knee issue that just seems to be the reason why he doesn't come on the field sometimes. Sheldon Richardson, he was on the New York Jets, so I am familiar with the way he plays.
Didn't he go with the Giants?
He went to Seattle, then he went to Browns, and then he ended up with the Vikings.
Never mind.
So he's been around. He's good. I was kind of surprised that, after the 4 seasons, they had to let him go. I guess they didn't want to pay after his rookie contract was up. So they traded him to the Seahawks. It was a difficult one for me to choose, but I chose Sheldon because of his consistency to show up and play.
So, yeah, I do remember Sheldon Richardson. He was a pretty good player, but now, as you can see, he's been jumping around from team to team. Also, Ndamukong has been jumping from team to team. And Anthony Barr, again, the injury for me, it's just a big problem. If you can't stay healthy, then it's kind of hard for me to keep him on the team. So from all these three, I would pick Ndamukong. And
he could be a rotational linebacker, though.
It could be, but I still, even with the injuries, like Ndamukong, he plays, you know?
That's
and
true.
Also, I mean, look at the teams that actually go after Ndamukong because they think that he's a force. I think that he's going to go back to Tampa. I think that they're going to work out a contract for him. But he did go to the Super Bowl. I believe was it with the they picked them from Tampa Bay. So they know that they have like a star team there. He did play for the Rams as well. So with Sean McVay, I really respect his outlook for football, and so he played there as well. He also played under Brian Flores in Miami, so that tells you also too. I also respect a lot Brian Flores and when he was in Miami. So he's a player that the people that I have so much respect for in football, and that are winning teams, do get Ndamukong. So that's why I would get Ndamukong.
I think I would have put him second too as well. Like it was very close, especially for that reason that he's not injury prone. And yeah, I don't remember Sheldon Richardson like off the top of my head in my opinion. So that's why I was only like between those two. But yeah, it's pretty close, and it's a good reason to just go with Sue with the fact that he's not injury prone, and I do think he's probably gonna go back to the Buccaneers for sure. Barr's last team was the Vikings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think he was about to go to the New York Jets.
Well, lucky for the Jets, they didn't make that deal. That
Yeah,
would
he
have strapped them up for cash.
Yeah, he backed out last minute.
You think they could still pick him up for cheaper?
I think we're good.
Oh man.
I mean, who knows what the Jets are thinking, right? What do you think their mindset is right now? Like, are they just like, I don't know,
all
we'll see what
gas,
happens.
no break.
Is this their time to like, I guess start? You think they have their foundation set, or you think, or their possible foundation? Obviously,
There's lots of question marks because we haven't seen a lot of the new people that just got drafted play. There's a lot of hope on them and a lot of hype on them because they had such an amazing draft. There's also a lot of hope on Zach Wilson showing up and playing lights out. So, I don't know. The expectation is there is positivity, but the reality is we haven't seen anything yet. So,
yeah, it's a big question mark. I mean, I have no clue. It's like a prove it to me and show me what you got. I mean, I would give them that they had a really good draft by draft is concerned. Like if you don't know like the players, I mean, you think that the players are going to be playing well in the NFL like they played in college, but it's still a question mark. So it's all for grabs, and we haven't done the projections right for the AFC East yet.
I already know where you guys put the Jets, so
no, you don't know.
I do know.
Oh, we haven't done it, really? Are you sure?
Yeah, we've only done the AFC side, the AFC North, and the AFC West. We still have to do the AFC South and the AFC East.
Yeah, we need to do that. And the thing is, the Jets look good on paper, right? So
that's depending what type of paper.
Okay.
Construction paper, because they're constructing it.
Okay. No, that's the Cowboys.
No, the Cowboys are.
It's a sandpaper.
Yeah.
It's just rough, and
it's rough.
It's hard, and it just can, I don't know. You like, there's a lot of people that use that paper for construction and stuff. I mean, not for construction.
You're right. They're like, Cowboys are sandpaper. You can use them, you can wear them out until by the time, the sandpaper gets a little soft and it's no longer good anymore.
Yeah, and then you start replacing it. So
you start replacing it to, make make the team work. So you keep masking it with more.
And with the Jets, it's construction paper because you mess up a lot, you throw it away, you get another one. You mess up a lot, you throw it away, you get another one.
Mess up a lot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, tell me that they have not.
Okay. You're just the Cowboys are just lucky to be the America's team.
All right. Anyways, before we get anything just get out of hand here, I think they're just both good teams. You know, they could be they could be pretty good this year. Who knows? We'll see.
Hey, Aaron, next year Cowboys against Jets. You down?
Yeah, the Jets will probably win, and I wouldn't be surprised.
They play in Dallas.
They play in Dallas.
Definitely down. Well, actually, I have good luck. I go to games and my team wins, so yes, I'm pretty confident.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So that's gonna do it for this episode. Unless we have something else to say, anything else? But before you and I start naming off our socials.
No, just the socials, football tailgaters, and we're more active on Instagram, so football_tailgaters, and we're working on TikTok and YouTube, so just bear with us.
Yep, and then 62 days, 21 hours, and 54 minutes until the first NFL season game.
Can't wait.
We're almost there.
Can't wait.
There.
Preseason, right?
No, just the season.
Just the season, because the preseason's like in beginning of August.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Andy's excited for the preseason, right?
Heck yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm with the season now. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and until next episode, later.
Thank you.
Bye.